I wanted to read a story to you guys because there is a holiday coming up next week called Shavuot. Shavuot is a holiday where we eat lots of things made out of mumu. Remember, mumu is made out of, makes lots of milk. Well, on Shavuot, we eat lots of things made out of milk, like cheese, like ice cream, and cheesecake, and all kinds of things, and even something called Blintzes. Yes. And this book is about a family that wants to make some Blintzes for Shavuot, to get ready for Shavuot. But there's going to be a problem when they try and make these Blintzes. So I want to read the story to you, and we'll see how it goes. Sound good? This story is called Kopecks for Blintzes. That's what a blintz looks like. A blintz is like dough, and in the middle of that is some deliciousness, usually some cheese, and you can eat it with honey or sour cream or all kind of jelly, all kinds of delicious stuff. So Kopecks, Kopek is another word for coin, just not in our country. In our country, we have things like pennies and dimes and nickels, if you even know what those are, since everyone just Venmos things these days. Do you even know what coins are? But that's another story for another time. The point is, Kopecks are like coins. That's all you need to know. Chelm, that's the name of this town. Chelm was a small town like many in Poland, except for two very important differences. The first was that the townspeople there were so foolish that they all believed they were the wisest people on earth. The second was that they had 13 commandments instead of the usual 10. This is the tale of how they received 3 extra commandments. One evening, Yankel and his wife Gittel were sitting in their tiny slanted house at the top of the steepest hill in Chelm. All was quiet. Their many sons and daughters were asleep. Yankel sighed deeply. Gittel said, "What's wrong?" Yankel said, "In a couple of weeks it will be Shavuot. Everyone will celebrate Moses receiving the 10 commandments. And just this morning, the rabbi reminded us that because the Torah and the commandments are sweet on the tongue, on Shavuot we eat food prepared with milk and honey. That means Blintzes, but we can't afford ingredients for Blintzes." This was true. Yankel earned very little as a teacher, and with so many children and to clothe and feed, he and Gittel had little to spare. Gittel sighed too. "If only we had a few coins, then I would make the best Blintzes." They sat lost in thought, imagining Blintzes stuffed with cheese, smothered in sour cream, and dripping with honey or strawberry jam. Suddenly, Yankel jumped up. "I know what we can do," he cried. "Remember that old trunk that my great aunt Fruma gave us as a wedding gift?" Gittel wrinkled her nose. "Ugh, who could forget it? It's so big and awful that it's been in the backyard since she gave it to us. That old trunk is going to solve our problem," said Yankel. They ran to the backyard. Yankel examined the ugly, dirty trunk from all angles. Then he told Gittel his idea. "I'll make a small hole on the top of the trunk, and each day we'll each drop in a kopeck, a coin. In a couple of weeks, we'll open the trunk and use all the coins to buy ingredients to make delicious Blintzes." Gittel clapped her hands. "What an excellent plan," she said. "You are one of the wisest men in town. Look at all those little chickens. Very cute." Gittel and Yankel washed and cleaned the trunk and even greased the very squeaky wheels. When they finished, Yankel cut a hole in the top and dropped in a kopeck, a coin. Gittel dropped in a coin too. "We'll be eating Blintzes in no time," said Yankel. The next afternoon, Gittel fished a coin out of her apron pocket and went to the trunk, ready to drop it in. But suddenly she thought, "Why should I put a coin when Yankel brings home money from his teaching every day? Let him do it." So she put the coin back in her pocket. That night, when Yankel came home, he searched in his vest pocket for a coin. He was about to drop it into the trunk when he thought, "Why should I put in a coin if Gittel will add one every day? She must have plenty of money left over after taking care of the house. With what she puts in, surely we will have enough to make Blintzes." So he put his coin back in his pocket. And this went on for many days. On the morning before Shavuot, Gittel, Yankel, and their children gathered in front of the trunk, and Yankel lifted the lid, and everyone peered inside. "We've been robbed," gasped Yankel. "Gewalt," Gittel wailed. "Those thieves left us only 2 coins." Then, out of the corner of her eye, she looked at Yankel. "Tell me the truth, Yankel. Did you drop in your coins?" "Well, no. I knew yours would be enough." Yankel's eyes widened. "You mean you didn't drop in your coins either?" "Well, if you had put in your coins, we would have had enough," snapped Gittel. Yankel groaned. "Now we won't eat Blintzes, and it's all your fault." "If you weren't so stingy, this never would have happened," Gittel said. She jabbed Yankel in the chest with her finger, and he stepped back, tripped, and lost his footing. "Help!" he cried, grabbing Gittel by her apron as she tipped over into the trunk. Gittel fell into the trunk on top of him, and the lid slammed shut, and slowly the trunk rolled out of the yard and down the hill. As the trunk rolled onto the crowded street, it gathered speed. "Oy, oy, oy," Yankel yelled. "Gewalt," Gittel shouted. People scrambled to get out of the trunk's way. It narrowly missed an old woman who made a sign to ward off the evil eye. "There's a demon in the trunk. I heard it yelling. The forces of evil are coming to Helm." A crowd of scared but very curious people ran after the trunk. At last, it reached the bottom of the hill and rolled to a stop in front of the synagogue. The rabbi, who had been decorating the synagogue for Shavuot, looked up in surprise. He approached the trunk and heard muffled sounds coming from inside. As he reached out to lift the latch, a man yelled, "Don't touch it! There are demons inside." A woman added, "If they're let loose, we'll all be lost." The rabbi's gentle face paled. He reached for his prayer book and turned page after page, looking for a prayer to banish the demons from Helm. And when he found it, he closed his eyes and mumbled the words. The townspeople stepped back, just in case the prayer didn't work. Ever so slowly, the rabbi opened the trunk, and out popped Gittel and Yankel. Everyone stared. "How did you come to be in the trunk?" asked the rabbi. When he had heard the story, the rabbi sighed. "Go home, everyone. This has been a terrible experience for all of us, so I must think of a way to prevent it from happening again." The rabbi went to his study and consulted his books. All night he searched for an answer. After a long night, he came to a decision. The following morning, during Shavuot services, right after the 10 Commandments were read, the rabbi announced 3 new commandments. They were written in big black letters on a board and placed at the entrance of the synagogue. And they were, "Do not let a teacher live on a hill. Do not let a teacher of Helm make Blintzes. Do not allow teachers of Helm to own a trunk with wheels." Such silly rules. And there they are, still reminding everyone that Helm is home to the world's wisest fools. And there they are, everyone eating Blintzes to celebrate Shavuot. And that is the story of Gittel and Yankel and their silly, silly story of falling into the trunk. Now, the reason that happened is because they didn't do what they said they were going to do, right? They didn't follow the rules. So, my question to you, because Shavuot, we read the 10 Commandments, which is all about rules so that we know how to treat people better and how we know how to be kind to other people. So does anyone have any rules in their house? All right, friends. Well, it was so nice to see everyone and to hear about so many really good rules that you have in your homes and to talk to you and see you. So I hope you have a wonderful week. And next week it's Shavuot at the end of the week. So I'll see you before then, but you can start saying to your mommies and daddies, we need to get some ice cream or cheesecake to get ready for Shavuot. So there you go. All right. Bye, everyone.